Hey friends, it is Ashley with Charlie Rose Creations. I make glitter tumblers, and tonight I'm working on epoxying a few tumblers. If you hear a noise, it's my turners. They're just old. This is actually better. I tried to do something tonight to get the squealing down, so we'll see how it goes. But anyway, yeah, tonight I'm doing the epoxy on these tumblers. This is usually the thing I get the most questions about on a daily basis. So right now I'm mixing up my epoxy and just kind of showing you what it looks like. You can kind of tell how filmy it looks here. Hey everybody, y'all, I'm not showing you my face just because today's not feeling 100%, and yeah, it's a little bit rough today. So anyway, so just for those people who maybe haven't watched me before, I use FX epoxy. I use the premium kind. You can find that at countertopepoxy.com. You can also get the standard version on Amazon, which is, I mean, it's good too. I just feel like the premium keeps your whites white for longer. That's one of the biggest things about epoxy that you have to be careful of, is that some of them can make your white yellow over time. So you can tell how slow I'm stirring it. I stir it a lot faster when I'm on a live. I think it's because I feel like I'm on a time crunch. I don't know. Hey friends, somebody asked what the saying is on this cactus one. It says, "Be a cactus in a world full of pansies." And then I've got two other ones over here going. Hey friends. I got a lot of Texas people on here, and let's see. Who else have I got? Okay, so this is mostly, you can tell a big difference now if you watched from the beginning. This is cleared up a lot. If you are mixing up a smaller amount, make sure that you mix really, really slow. It's going to get very, very bubbly if you have smaller amounts. I mix up 2/3 of a cup at a time. I just make sure I scrape the bottom. All of that. Seriously, this is what I get the most questions on. Oh, Tess, that's great. I'll have to try that. All right, so for sandpaper, I use the wet dry kind. It can be used either wet or dry. I've been using it wet. I feel like it sands better, and I don't have as much dust with the wet kind, so I like that, but it's essentially the same thing. You just can't do it wet unless it's the wet dry kind. All right, and so I apply. Lorraine, are you asking how much I do? I do 1/3 of a cup of A and B. So I use a glove on mine to apply mine, and this is the way I've done it for a long time, and this is just what I prefer. There are lots of other ways. I made the cactus. I used a stencil. This I just taught this in the group last month, I think, was when I did the cactus. All right, so I just use my fingers to apply, and I always go from, this is my left, I always go from left to right. And I just kind of put it on. I try to move fairly quickly. The more you mix up, the quicker it's going to cure. So just make sure I kind of spread it around pretty good. And the reason I use a gloved hand like this is because I feel like I can actually feel it better, and so I don't miss any spots. Oh, Kelly, I'm so glad you like it. And then do the bottom. If you epoxy the bottom, make sure you kind of get a lot of it off. If you put too much on there, it will make the cup wobbly. Amy, I use, these are the Hog brand tumblers, but you can do any stainless steel one. I mean, you can do glass and plastic too. But like Walmart has the Ozark brand. They all work about the same. Kendra, the startup costs honestly depend on you. Some people spend a lot more at the beginning. Like, do you already have a vinyl cutting machine? Because that's probably going to be one of the bigger startup costs. And if you don't, are you planning on buying one? Do you have a friend that could maybe help you make the decals for like a fee or whatever? Are you wanting to do this as a business? Because if you are, you're going to need to either invest in making a multi-cup turner or buying one, which can cost, you know, depending on where you get it, around $100, maybe more. And then after that, you just buy, I would buy a little bit at a time. So a lot of people go crazy getting printers, brand new printers, and all the glitter and all of that stuff. The only thing you have to have are a few colors of glitter, some paintbrushes, a little bit of epoxy, and what am I trying to say? And a cup. What's the cheapest way to ship multiple cups to one address? Depends on how many. If it's just a few, USPS is going to be the cheapest. And I ship in a regional rate box. If you're shipping like 20, you're probably going to want to do FedEx or UPS. Alicia, I've only done one of the coffee mugs, and it was my own personal one. It was definitely, the handle wasn't like, it wasn't crazy hard, but it wasn't easy either. And so, because the handle is so heavy on her new ones, it like caused my turner to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Jerk a little bit. And so there's a little bit of a buildup on there. It's not a big deal because, I mean, like, it's just like there's just a little bit of extra epoxy. The cactus cup says, be a cactus in a world full of pansies. Sorry, I had to think about it. Adriana, the majority of my cups are custom cups. They're on my website at charlierosecreations.com, and then it's like create a custom cup, and you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. Yes, regional rate A or regional rate boxes save you so much money with shipping. If you purchase your labels online versus purchasing them in the post office, that also saves you a lot of money. And they don't, most post offices, at least the ones here, don't actually carry the regional rate boxes. So they're probably gonna encourage you to do flat rate, and flat rate cost sometimes like $5 more for the same size box. All right, I'm gonna move you over because I gotta do these other ones. Sorry. Ugh. Whew. Yes, y'all, I'm not feeling great, so I apologize so much for the sniffles. And it's like as soon as I got on this live, my nose was like, all right, let's do this, which is not great. If your epoxy is still tacky, you can do another coat, but that means that you either didn't mix up exact proportions, the exact same amounts, or you didn't stir it all the way. But it's going to be tacky depending on your epoxy. I mean, it could be up to 12 hours. So I always say give it 24 hours and then check it. 24 hours and then check it. Y'all, I'm so sorry. My nose is running and I really apologize. Sherry, you can do another layer on top of that to see if that second layer will be, will cure and harden. If that one doesn't, you're going to need to strip it. And you can either do acetone or a paint or epoxy stripper. So I always smooth these out. I don't know that this it's like totally necessary, but it makes me feel better. Sarah, great question. Do I recommend starting a separate checking account when you're just starting out? Yes. If you plan to run any sort of business, I highly recommend doing a separate checking account. I did it from the very beginning. I had a separate PayPal account for my business. Like all of it was separate, and I highly recommend it for tax purposes. That way if you want to buy glitter, you know, Brandon never said anything about me buying glitter. He'd laugh a little bit if I went like overboard and bought a lot, but it never came out of our personal account. So it was never anything that like, where he had to be like, okay, you know, maybe now is not the greatest time to buy glitter or whatever I needed. You can do whatever you want to because it's not coming out of the personal funds, and then you just pay yourself based off of what you make. So I really recommend it. When we actually started talking to a tax guy, he was very impressed that we already had everything separated, that we didn't mix personal money and business money. I don't mix personal and business anything. All right. All right, so I have some more I need to do, but of course it would be impossible to go over there. So let's see. Sherry, yes, if you do acetone, it's going to remove the entire stuff. Like, you can't just remove the one layer. It's going to remove all the things. And no, your mug's not getting it tonight. It will probably get it probably tomorrow. But I don't know that I will be showing that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do tomorrow. Jacqueline, I have like a PDF tutorial in the group, but no, I don't have one on here. Did I epoxy? Beth, yours isn't over here. I had to wait on the water slide stuff to dry. I'm hoping it'll get epoxied tonight though. It just won't be on this live. Let's see. I tried to make a glass with glitter and epoxy. All the epoxy ran to one side. All right, so if you don't have a turner like this, first of all, if you plan on running a business, like you want to sell cups and make money, you're going to need to invest in one, because otherwise you're going to be spending a lot more time on hand turning and And so time is money in this type of business. And so that's why I highly recommend these. Once I put the epoxy on and kind of, I'll do the heat gun in just a minute. And then I can leave them. So you can hand turn, that is an option, but I don't recommend it if you're going to be selling, because then you're wasting a lot of your time. So Rachel, Tuesday. So yes. So what I did, because I hand turned for a long time, mostly because I was a little bit nervous about doing it on a turner. I'd never done it before. I was just nervous about it. And Brandon made my first one, and I was like, I don't know that this is gonna work. Like, I just didn't believe it. And it worked wonderfully well. Loved it. And yes. So, but before that, y'all, I taped a broom to my table. It was this table, because I've had this table forever. I taped the broom, and then I made it so that the handle kind of came out past the table, and then I hand turned it every time I saw a drip. So, and that's how I hand turned. It was not fancy by any means. Yes, epoxy is self-leveling. So by continuously turning like this, it keeps it from dripping. And so it levels out, and it comes out to having a perfect finish. So I definitely recommend getting one. All right, so Megan, here's how I do things like that. So Megan's asking about doing a glass with glitter, like glitter on the bottom, and then a name up here. So I glitter the bottom just like normal. I pull the tape, let it dry, brush it off. I re-tape slightly over above that and epoxy it. Let that cure, pull the tape, do all that. I put the decal on, and then I epoxy the whole thing again. And I do it all the way up to the top. That's just how I do it. I don't know that it's really necessary, but it's what I prefer. Yes, if you have thick spots on your cup, you can sand them. Cassandra, it's gonna be a little bumpy, especially the first 2 coats. I do 3. Second coat is when I sand, and I have a video on here about that. So I sand the edge. So these are done. These are a lot smoother. Like this one, I don't know if you can hear that. It's pretty rough right there. This is smooth. And people ask, like, what about the rim? How do you keep it free of epoxy? Like, it's like surface tension. The epoxy doesn't go in there. I use FX Premium epoxy. Oh, thank you. Y'all, my kids get sick, and they're sick for like a day and a half, and then boom, they bounce back and they feel great, except I don't. And it gets worse. Yes, I do non-glittered tumblers. They're just not as popular. I just have a lot more glitter ones, but yes, there's a listing on my website for painted tumblers. Okay, so somebody was asking about this one. So y'all are like above me and looking down from the opposite direction I'm facing. So they look upside down because of how you're looking at it. But no, I promise I don't put my my decals on backwards. Mona, no, you don't have to sand to make it like grab on. I sand because I want to get rid of any bumps. So I mostly focus on this edge up here. If you sand, if you glitter all the way down to the bottom, you're going to need to focus around this edge. And then I just kind of touch the rest of the tumbler to make sure there's not any bumps. And if there are, I sand those away. So, yeah. Sherry, countertopepoxy.com. Krista, I charge, it depends on the size, the design. So like, for example, this is a specialty design, so it costs more than something like this because it takes more time. So it varies depending on size and design, but usually on average between $40 and $60. All right, so for tape, when to pull the tape. So this is one of the things I think is hardest for people, and it's hard to kind of get it down. But you pull the tape for FX Premium and probably for Pro Marine too, because they both cure about the same time. I think Pro Marine takes just a smidge longer. I think Pro Marine and standard FX are the same. I pull at like 30 to 45 minutes. If you do the Amazing Clear Cast, you're probably going to want to do about an hour to make sure you give it enough time for the epoxy to set up where it's not going to be moving around a whole lot, but you don't want to wait so long that it's cured really well or the tape's not going to want to pull off. I don't know if I have one, but yeah, here we go. I can't pull the tape now because it's not ready, but after I pull it, there's always going to be a little bit of tape that like seeps underneath the edge of where the two pieces meet up. And so I just get one of these little makeup sponges. They're super cheap from Walmart, and I get a little acetone on it, and I clean it up as soon as I pull this tape, and that keeps the bottom looking good. Maggie, the cactus is this is an all glitter tumbler, aside from the decal, which is a regular decal. So, let's see. Adriana, yes, I do cheer cups. I've actually got a really big order right now for a cheer, I think it's like a cheer company, like not with a school. I think it's like a specific, they're with a cheer gym. And so I'm making, I think 12 total. 11 for the girls and then 1 for the coach. But yes, I can pretty much do whatever you need. And then, yeah. Oh, Tasha, that's wonderful. If I pull mine, it starts to seep down and looks kind of grody, so I don't. I just wait. I give it a little bit of time to kind of set up. But if you've got a way, I always say this, and I truly mean it. If you have a way you're doing something and it's different from mine, but it's working for you, then you continue to do that. Don't mess with, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's working for you, let it go. All right, friends, I would hang out longer, but I don't feel great. Sarah, mine runs too if I pull too early, and so that's why I don't. That's why I wait and pull at the 30-minute mark. But if you pull yours right away and it looks good, then you just, yeah, keep on keeping on. Don't mess up a good thing. All right, if anybody has any other questions, I will answer those. But yeah, the cactus says, be a cactus in a world full of pansies. Oh, thank you guys. It'll go away eventually, or it'll turn into a sinus infection. We're kind of waiting to see what's gonna happen, because it'll either go away. Sarah, are you asking my opinion on whether or not it's okay to do a Harry Potter tumbler? Because I'm gonna give you my opinion, and you're not gonna like it. So with copyrighted stuff, and Harry Potter is, you just have to do it at your own risk. I did them at the beginning. I don't anymore because you just, people will go after you for things, and so they are copyrighted designs, so that means that they're not legal for us to do because we don't own the copyright. And so that's totally, as a personal choice. There are lots of people I know that still do copyrighted stuff, and that's their choice. So no judgments for me, because y'all know I'm not going to be a judgerson. Do what what makes you comfortable. If it doesn't make you comfortable, then don't do it. So, okay, Kara, about the phone holder one. I had somebody message me and say that, that even though I didn't say what they're actually called, that some people, this girl was getting Facebook pages shut down. And so I turned it off for copyrighted things. I wasn't risking it. So I did take it down, but they're really easy to do if you decide to do it. Sarah, the glasses are going to be anything. If you look at the image and you automatically know, oh, that's Harry Potter, that's copyrighted. So the colors is fine. Glasses are going to be pushing it, but that's again up to you. Okay, friends, I am out of here. I appreciate you hanging out with me, especially through all of my sniffles. And I will be back, hopefully feeling a little bit better tomorrow. Thankfully, Brandon's home, and so we get to have another family day. And yeah, so thank you for just hanging out, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, friends.